welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 30 anime scenes where the hero goes berserk. Number 30, Luffy Gum Gum goes out of control. One Piece. Luffy has cracked a few times across his adventures, but if there's one in particular that gave us chills, it's this. After his comrades are seemingly killed thanks to Kaido's devastating Bolo Blast, the Straw Hat Captain falls out of his senses. Now, in his furious mindset, he throws everything and the kitchen sink at the Beast Pirate's fearsome leader. Of course, it doesn't end in victory for Luffy during this round, but seeing him get this emotional over his friends should teach Kaido not to mess with them ever again. Number 29, Deku loses it. My Hero Academia. After everything Shigaraki had done up until this point, it's surprising how a few simple words is what broke our favorite heroic cinnamon roll. The seemingly hopeless battle against the leader of the League of Villains saw plenty of bloodshed, and Deku hoped to put a stop to that through blind, ugly violence. He harnesses his newfound one-for-all abilities to give the nutty killer a taste of what he's been dishing out. If it weren't for his nigh invincible body, it's clear that Shigaraki would be paced on the ground after this beatdown for the ages. Number 28, Farm Boy goes berserk. Bungo Stray Dogs. Kenji is just about the sweetest little fella you could ever meet. Sure, he has borderline terrifying physical strength, but you'd have to do something pretty egregious to get him to see red, like, say, threaten his besties at the Armed Detective Agency? Unfortunately for Techo of the Hunting Dogs, he didn't take that into consideration after easily taking down Kenji earlier on in the fight. He didn't realize that behind that gentle exterior was a complete monster hiding in wait that will stop at nothing to keep his friends safe. What's almost more terrifying is how easily he's able to snap out of it after absolutely wrecking Techo. Number 27, Itadori's Rage. Jujutsu Kaisen. It was very easy to hate Mahito more and more every time he appeared on the show, especially if your name is Yuji Itadori. After what appeared to be an emotional turnaround for Junpei's distress, Mahito quickly snatches it away by turning him into a monstrosity. This, coupled with Sukuna's refusal to intervene, pushes the young sorcerer over the edge. He now has only one thing in mind: punching a crater into the place where Mahito's face currently occupies. He ignores all the pain he's being put through and continues his relentless assault. Oh Yuji, if only you finished your fight here, you wouldn't be a victim to the horrors to come. Number 26, Soya Cries. Tokyo Revengers. Greatly outnumbered by Tenjiku, Toman certainly has a rough time in their battle against them, especially when the Haitani brothers begin to brutalize Hakai right in front of Soya. With his leg injured, Angry's emotions get the best of him and he begins to cry like a child. Now, usually you'd think this would be the end for him, but in Soya's case, it's actually the opposite, as all of his restraints come off, and he becomes a demon. In a flash, Soya takes down both the brothers, as well as any Tenjiku members that decide to come near him. Number 25, Nezuko goes full demon. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Oh, Nezuko, sweet innocent little Nezuko. She may be a demon and all, but thanks to her big heart, she's managed to stay in her right mind up until this point. Daki shouldn't have played with her food too much, since a threat against Tanjiro's life results in her earning the ire of his sister. But this isn't the cutie pie we're used to. No, this is a Nezuko whose power can rival that of even an upper moon. Just like that, Daki goes from a threat to a pitiable creature. It's only until Tanjiro intervenes that we're able to see our favorite backpack dweller back to normal. Number 24. Sayaka's Despair. Madoka Magica. Hell hath no fury like a woman cucked. After giving everything in order to save her beloved Kyosuke from his ailments, she learns that now he's all fixed up, he's fallen in love. Just not with her.
まさか瞳がね。なんだ、京介のやつ隅に置けないな。
This means she's lost every reason she had to become a magical girl and drowns her sorrows in sheer violence. With no direction left in life, it's the witches who suffer her wrath, a path that would lead her to becoming one herself.
完全に消しちゃえるんだ。
Number 23. Dark Sonic. Sonic X. The final arc of Sonic X takes a much darker turn, and nowhere is this more apparent than in this scene where Sonic obtains a transformation we've never seen in any other Sonic media.
Chris was passed out. What did you do to him?
After seeing an unconscious Chris and terrified Cosmo, the negative energy within the Dark Chaos Emeralds begins to have an effect on Sonic and transforms him into a new dark form. Even when Black Narcissus unleashes two powerful robots against him, Dark Sonic makes quick work of them.
All right then, let's test him out.
It's a form so unlike the Blue Blur that even Dr. Eggman is concerned for his well-being.
I don't think I've ever seen you this worked up before.
Number 22. Jinwoo solos Dongsuk and his underlings. Solo leveling. With all the skull-crushing Jinwoo had been doing in his grinding spree, it was only a matter of time before he was tasked with taking down some of his fellow dungeon wages.
緊急クエスト何なんだこれ
But you can't say they didn't push him. After leaving the two young lads for dead so they could reap the rewards the zone had to offer, they come back to check on the damage, only to find them still alive. Enraged by their selfish antics, Jinwoo finally snaps and takes them out one by one. His reservations about killing other humans fly out of the window.
だけど一つ残念なことを教えてやろう
Number 21. Punch Drunk Sugimoto. Golden Kamui. Sugimoto and the crew would stop at nothing to find a Sirpa during this arc of the story. That includes participating in some good old-fashioned fisticuffs with Russians in a barn. However, Sugimoto's never-say-die attitude pushes him too far, and soon he's completely taken over by his thirst for blood. After wiping the floor with the other participants, he turns his attention to Gansoku. What follows is a stunning display of Sugimoto's brute strength as he dishes out everything against the behemoth of a man. In the end, he walks away the victor, but it isn't until he takes an unplanned skinny dip that he's able to get back to his senses. Number 20. Giving into the ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul. Trapped and continually tortured by a sadistic monster with a Friday the 13th fetish certainly has a way of putting someone in a bad headspace.
飛びズムカデって知ってる
With Yamori's constant mutilations combined with Rize haunting his mind, Kaneki's humanity slips away, resulting in him embracing his newfound ghoul nature, leading him to turn the tables on his tormentor. Not only is he able to power through Yamori's transformed state, but he gives him a taste of his own fearful medicine by digging into him for dinner. Number 19, Bam snaps, Tower of God. One does not simply injure the beloved of an alpha simp. With the crown game coming to a close, Rachel suffers a lethal head wound when one of the masked combatants tries to take the throne from Bam. Overcome by such a sight, Bam's irregular nature kicks into gear and unleashes such a vast amount of high-tier Shinsu that it cleaves out one of the navigator's eyes. Thankfully, the Black March chose to interfere before he totally lost it and tried to end her life as revenge for Rachel. Yeah, how's that attitude working out for you now, Bam? Number 18, Roll the Dice, Goblin Slayer. Don't you just love it when your party is on its last legs, only for you to land that all-important critical? Despite getting his body severely damaged by a goblin champion, the titular adventurer refuses to simply lay down and die. Instead, with nothing more than some hair and one hell of a second wind, he climbs atop the beast and strangles the ever-loving Gimli out of it until it suffocates. Pretty impressive for a man hemorrhaging a colossal amount of blood behind that helmet. Number 17, The Manslayer returns, Rurouni Kenshin. There are very few things that can push a changed man like Kenshin to revert back to the demon he was during his assassin career. Threatening to slice down a child just happens to be one of them. With Sho willing to use his bladed whip on an innocent, Kenshin is pushed to his limit, resolving to use the killer techniques of the Hiten Mitsurugi Ryu. If not for the reveal that he had been in possession of the reverse blade the whole time, Sho would be missing the lower half of his body from just one slash. Number 16, Dark Digivolution, Digimon Tamers. As heartbreaking as it might be to see something as adorable as Guilmon be turned into a grotesque data packet, that's what you get when you delete their friends right in front of them.
He's digivolving! Do it! That's it! Digivolve! I order you to digivolve to Mega!
In the wake of Leomon's demise, Takato embraces his malicious side and forces Guilmon to transform, which prompts a sudden digivolution to Megidramon, a mega level that is nigh uncontrollable and fixated on devouring his target. As with most things in Tamers, this was on a whole other level of dark.
I must admit this is not a very attractive sight of you, Pineapple Head. Now you're trolling on me!
Number 15, Alpha Stigma, The Legend of the Legendary Heroes. If you know the guy you've captured happens to be the vessel for an entity that can eradicate everything, why would you go out of your way to taunt him by attacking his friends and showing him the corpses of his fellow mages? Whatever the reason, the Magic Knights soon learned they were dealing with a literal devil, since Reiner's despair at such cruelty allowed the Alpha Stigma to take over, where it proceeds to do what it does best and erase everything in its sight. in the most gruesome way possible, of course. Number 14, Advance versus Removal, Kengan Ashura.
こいつを倒すには前借りを使うしかねえ。
Throughout the Kengan tournament, driven by his desire for revenge, Ohma continuously relied on the double-edged sword that was the Advance, a power boost that could improve his strength, but at the cost of his lifespan. While usually able to put some manner of limit on himself, that all went out the window when up against Ryan Kure, and his equally sinister transformation of Removal.
早えなおい。1回戦の時より倍は早えぞ。
Unable to cope with the taboo descendants' onslaughts, Ohma abandoned the warnings of his mentor and allowed the Advance to take hold, becoming a crimson-skinned monstrosity in his own right.
また早くなった。
これを待っていたんだ。
Number 13, A Boxer's Wrath, Hajime no Ippo. Despite his cavalier attitude and sickening approach to the sport, Brian Hawk was nonetheless one hell of an obstacle challenge for Takamura to overcome.
立ってること自体が奇跡なんだ。それ以上の奇跡はありえねえんだよ。
With so much force behind his punches, the champion eventually succeeded in rendering Takamura partially unconscious. Unluckily for him, in doing so, he awakened the beast.
全部てめえのせいか。
Fueled with rage over how Hawk had previously injured Coach Kamogawa, his body acted instinctively and, relying on his training, pummeled the feathers out of Hawk until he was upchucking blood all over the ring. Number 12, The Laughing Arm, Twin Star Exorcists. 9 times out of 10, Rokuro is the nicest kid on the block. He can punch you to hell and back with his impurity arm, but he's still a chipper lad with a massive heart. Unless you're Yuto, then you're liable to get a meteor smash to the face.
お前は絶対許さない。
After the one-eyed killer tells Benio he never cared for her as a sister, Roku loses it. Sure, Yuto still knocks him around like a tennis ball, but it's the sight of our boy's arm howling in murderous glee while his eyes glow like a demon that sticks with us. Number 11, Cursed Shield, The Rising of the Shield Hero. Naofumi was already not in the best place mentally given his horrific treatment ever since being dropped into this corrupt kingdom, but watching his cherished talking chicken daughter get gobbled up by a zombie dragon, that's a bridge too far. Unlocking the Cursed Shield of Wrath, this highly destructive yet all-consuming form was certainly able to burn away the rot of the dragon, but given how it fed on his rage, it also had the unfortunate side effect of blurring Naofumi's perception of friend and foe together, leading to Best Girl Raftalia being injured in the process. Number 10, Kamui Unleashed, Kill the Kill.
こっちの暑さは危険だ。このままだと私は自分を保てない。
Ryuko has never been one to quell her temper during a fight, but it's fair to say that here she went totally off the rails. Not surprising, since her father's killer suddenly dropped in and happily confessed. Her resulting outrage proves to be so potent that Senketsu can't handle it, and consequently mutates her into a monstrous entity, complete with boiling blood and way too many teeth. It's a hell of a look for her, just a shame she wasn't able to use it to give Nui exactly what she deserved. Number 9, Mob Goes 100, Mob Psycho 100. On an average day, this little ball of awkwardness is just about the nicest guy you could meet. At least until you decide to beat up his brother. Then you might want to clear the area. Lest you fancy seeing Mob unleash his dark side.
わかるか。ああ、僕も敵。
Koyama learns this the hard way, who for all his bravado and psychic abilities is woefully unprepared for Mob after he reaches 100% pissed off. As we all know, once he's at his emotional pinnacle, there's nothing that can stop him. Evidenced from when Mob sends his brother's attacker right into the ground, face first. Number 8, Monster Card Rampage, Yu-Gi-Oh!
You'll pay for that.
The world of children's card games is a cutthroat business, something Weevil Underwood learns firsthand when he unwisely jokes that Yugi is gone forever during a duel.
Yugi's gone forever!
Despite being armed with an impressive new deck, the Bug Boy ends up facing the Pharaoh's unbridled fury, given how he had just lost his partner in crime to the Seal of Orichalcos.
Attack again!
Without Yugi to play spiritual good cop, no one can stop the King of Games from attacking Weevil again and again until his life points are well into the minus numbers.
Please, Pharaoh! No more!
Let me go!
Number 7, Meliodas destroys Danafor. The 7 Deadly Sins. Well, at least we now know how the Captain of the Sins got his infamous moniker of Wrath.
これはバンドルのご飯じゃないよ。
In order to reclaim his lost demonic power, Meliodas is forced to relive the haunting moment where he lost control of his rage following the death of his beloved Liz. Unable to hold back the anger inside, the Dragon Sin's own dark power overwhelms him, reducing the kingdom of Danafor to nothing more than a crater in the process. Look on the bright side, Meliodas. At least your lover got reincarnated into an infant. But hey, beggars can't be choosers.
二度と絶対に
Number 6, Hollow Resurrection, Bleach. Apparently, not even a gaping hole in the torso is enough to keep this substitute Shinigami down. While initially overwhelmed by Ulquiorra's power, Orihime's cries of despair are all Ichigo needs to claw his way back from death. Only now bearing a much more nightmarish guise, one that comes complete with a lot of Predator sound effects and a crazy amount of laser beams. Now more powerful than even the Espada's Segunda Etapa form, Ichigo and his inner hollow proceed to rip Ulquiorra to pieces. Yep, this is all on you, Orihime. Well done.
あれが本当に黒崎くんなの？
Number 5, Cemetery Battle, Gintama.
おめえさんが銀時か。一足遅かったな。
Despite being famed for his sword skills, as well as being a demon on the battlefield, Gintoki Sakata is mostly known for acting like a complete doofus, one who always ends up failing at even the simplest of odd jobs. Not in this case.
落とせに免じて命だけは取らねえでいてやら。
After Otose ends up wounded via the blade of her rival Deva and former friend Jirochu, Gin goes full-on white demon.
ててて、何しやがんで。
Armed with nothing more than his trusty wooden sword, he easily crushes nearly every gravestone in sight while trying to put Jirochu 6 feet under.
使命だ。
Number 4, Naruto lets the fox out the bag. Naruto Shippuden. We'll admit it was an odd time for Hinata to find the courage to confess her love to a ninja heartthrob, but it at least ended up giving us this epic scene.
私は ナルトくんが大好きだから。
While trying to defend Naruto from Pain's assault, the Hyuga heiress finds herself grievously wounded. The knuckle-headed ninja doesn't take too kindly to this, once again losing control to the demon fox inside of him. Now completely taken over by his rage, Naruto instantly goes all the way to 6 tails. Pain may have his own fair share of internal baggage, but he's got nothing on a teen Jinchuriki who just watched his future wife get stabbed. Number 3, Guts cuts off his own arm. Berserk. We had to get a little creative with this one, seeing how bloody rampages are kind of Guts' bread and butter. The Black Swordsman may have angrily sliced his way through plenty of demons and enemy soldiers in his time, but in terms of sheer desperation, nothing tops the time where he was willing to mutilate his own arm to escape the jaws of an apostle. Of course, given how Casco was being violated by Griffith at the time, you can kind of see why he would be willing to go so far. It's a hellish sight to behold, the only thing more unnerving being the savage expression spread across Guts' face. Now that is rage. Griffith! Number 2, Gon vs. Pitto. Hunter x Hunter. You wouldn't have thought a good kid like Gon would have had a dark side. Pitto probably thought so too, at least until he decided to taunt him with the corpse of his deceased friend.
ごめんね。
After discovering that his buddy Kite was gone for good, Gon gives into his hatred and unleashes all of his latent nen, transforming into an older version of himself equipped with enough strength to match the king of the Chimera Ants. Fueled by the desire to seek vengeance on the wicked Kitty, the young hunter proceeds to smash Pitto's face to bloody chunks, to the point where the royal guard is left essentially headless. Ouch. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Ava 01, The Beast. Neon Genesis Evangelion. The good news, Shinji got back in the robot. The bad news, it's gone totally feral and developed quite a taste for angel flesh. When one of the alien invaders nearly overpowers them, Shinji pleads for his Ava unit to get a second wind, something that seems to strike a chord with the sentient mecha, leading it to go berserk and slaughtering the angel. All before chowing down. All the nerve agents can do is hopelessly look on as Unit 01 goes primal. What's your favorite Berserk scene in anime? Let us know in those comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.